Hello everyone, and welcome to another exciting oil painting video. I am your humble host, John. Let's get started. 16 by 20 canvas, mishmash of colors, and a big 1.5 inch brush. Okay? Still got Wyoming on my mind. I don't know. I love the way it looks. So, I'm going to continue with the Wyoming stuff. Payne's gray. This time, instead of using Viridian, just for the hell of it, I've got, had some permanent green light in Georgian oil colors. Then I'm just going to darken up with the Payne's gray and go from there. Okay, so I saw this one vantage point of this one little mountain. It wasn't one of the big Tetons or anything like that that Wyoming is famous for, but it was kind of cool. It came up like this. Like that. I don't like that. Something like that. Yeah, something like that. And it's not green, it's the granite rock type and all that other stuff, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so little Payne's gray and some raw sienna. Like that. Okay, something like that. Gonna put that all the way up. Put that down like that. Then I'm just gonna fill it in. Just like that. And I'm gonna cover some of this up with more rocks. One of the things I noticed about Wyoming, and if anybody lives there or been there a lot on vacations, let me know. Because my wife and I are actually planning a trip there for next June and or July to Cheyenne. We've never been there before, so we figured Cheyenne's a nice place to start. It's the capital, kind of see what it's like, and then kind of go from there. Okay. There we go. Let's do this. Like I said, that's not going to stay like that. I think I'm going to have a big tree line coming in front of it a little bit, and then over like this. This is where the trees are going to be. So I might as well put all of that in now. So one of the things here that I'm hoping you check out and catch is, even though the last couple of paintings I've had an idea of what I wanted to paint, something I saw in a photograph or whatever, I still use the same system. You know, I still use the big brush. I'm still using the Alkyd, walnut Alkyd medium to thin the paint to get this real thin look to it. Still just kind of going all over the place, whatever. So you do the same stuff, even if you don't know what you're doing or you don't know where you're going or whatever. So even if you're following a picture, okay, it doesn't matter. You're there in person and you're following it. It doesn't matter. The beauty of this kind of style, I guess, is that it's really forgiving. So if you change something and you want to go over something, you saw a perfect example of it last week. When we had our big mountains over here, they went to here, and then eventually they went almost all the way to the bottom, and then they went too far. So when we put the water in, we adjusted them. That's the thing about this system that I love, is you can adjust it as you go. So it's very difficult to make a mistake you can't correct. And that's the big thing. You don't want to get into a point where you have a mistake you cannot correct. Okay? So this is going to go like this, the tree line, like that. And I think I'm going to have, got to get a decent enough color for it. I think I'm going to have rocks coming up like this. Okay, now this is going to be a bear for you to see. And I'm going to wipe it down here real shortly, and I'll show you why. Okay, I don't want to, I know exactly where I'm going and what I'm doing here. Well, not exactly, but a good idea. And when I just put on there, there's no way in hell you're going to see that. So I'm going to like this. Okay, and what I'm doing here is I'm getting it to the point where you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to take it all off. Okay, so here we go. Tree line, we know it's coming like this. Okay, so we're gonna have trees going all the way up like that. Obviously, we got the sky there. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put in some rocks. This is like more mountains and stuff. But it's just kind of overlapping it, and it's going down a little bit more. And I'm gonna obviously use the knife, well not obviously using the knife, but obviously highlight that in a way that's gonna make it look good. And this is gonna be water. Okay, we're gonna have water coming out like this, and then maybe a waterfall down, something like, I'm not sure yet. And I think I'm gonna have a lot of foliage down here into this. Okay. Okay, I think I got an idea here. Okay, remember how we do this. We're gonna take our 1-inch brush. We're just gonna tap our foliage in here. And this is the background anyway, but I wanna get, because I think I'm gonna put some rocks over here too. And I don't want this to be horizontal streaks for my forest. I want it to have a little bit more of a foliage feel to it, let's say. And it's gonna be real thick. I mean, it's Wyoming. So when you get into the mountains, one of the things I've been looking at and seeing in Wyoming, it's funny too, because there's a lot of barren area. But when you get into the point where there is mountains and there is forest and stuff, then it's really thick and dense. So you got, I don't want to say desert, but you got in a lot of areas without grass and stuff where it's, brown. And I've seen houses in the real estate and stuff that look like that also, to where they don't get a lot of water and stuff. So I don't know how true that is. Like I said, I've never been there. So we'll see. However, I'm looking forward to it a lot. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put some rocks in. Similar to there. I'm going to start here. Kind of just guessing at this as I go along. And this I can just cover in because I'm just going to use the knife to pick out rock shapes. That's the thing too with the knife. Well, anytime you highlight, period, you can do that. Like that. I'm gonna have water going through here, like I said. There we go. I think that's it. Okay. I'm gonna wipe it off. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of get an idea what I'm doing with my water here. See how I'm shaping this? Just taking the side of the brush and I'm shaping that shoreline, the far shoreline. Over here, it doesn't matter because, like I said, I think I'm gonna have foliage. So I'm guessing, perspective-wise, the water's gonna come right to here, and then this will be foliage. I don't know if it'll be trees, grasses. I haven't decided yet. Okay, so that's the gist. That's what we're gonna do. Put this down so I don't drop it. Let's go with some cerulean. How about a bright sky today? Excuse me. Bright sky. I put a little bit too much on the brush, so it doesn't look like I'm really going to have to reloader. I might have to take some paint off. See, think of it is that I want you to not get confused with. If you hear me a lot of times go, I like thick paint. I like thick paint. It's got to be thick paint for it to look right. And oil painting was designed to use thick paint. And then I say I got to take paint off. It's the stage that you're in, your painting, that determines the thickness or thinness of your paint. Okay, this is still the very beginning. Okay, so I don't want it too thick too soon. The thickness, and that looks the best, is at the very end, well, middle to end, where that thick paint is like the finishing touch. Right now, this is really good. I'm going to put another thin layer. I mean, it's coming off barely in my finger because it is so thin. You can see the canvas behind it. Okay, this too for the most part. But I'm going to put more with a smaller brush, paint there, and then highlight it. It's going to be a medium highlight. These are going to be a little bit more pronounced because I want that behind this. But I don't want the thick paint until the last part of the middle of the painting until the end. And that's when it gives it that nice little bold, boom, and there it is. Now, this, like I said, too much paint on here. I'm gonna leave it. But I don't want this just to be all blue like this. That just doesn't look right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wipe my brush off. Get wet my brush off. Feeling a lot better too. Still got to drink when I'm talking, you know, a decent amount, so I'll be drinking again today. My great Crystal Light Kool-Aid, 5 calories for 19 ounces, which when you get to be in your 40s and late 50s like me, you got to watch every damn calorie you put in your mouth. Okay, no fun either. Okay. So I'm going to put some clouds in. Whiten this up. And I'm just taking straight titanium white and I'm tapping it reasonably hard. I want it to blend a little bit with what's in the back. Like I said, this stark blue, I love cerulean blue, it's a pretty color, but I just didn't want so much of it. Where it was just, you know, a flat blue. That's not appealing to me. The more I paint, the more I like my colors and my skies and everything else to have a little bit more life into them. Okay, now I'm not going to put any shadows in here because I'm going to kind of use that dark part of the cerulean as the shadow. So I've got the brush wiped off but not cleaned off. And then remember our technique, nice and light, barely touching it. We don't want to blend it yet. Okay, we want to just get the shape of our clouds. Then we'll go underneath and do a little bit of blending, and then I'll kind of give it a shadow effect. I'll show you what I mean. Just go like that. There we go. Now I had a lot of paint on there, so I'm going to wipe that off. Kind of start over again. Then hit the other side, other direction. Doesn't matter if you get anything in here. We're going to work on that later. Well, that'll be covered anyway. Okay, wipe it off again. This time, let's go across and see what we got. Get those brush strokes out of here. Okay, let's see what we got here. I'm barely touching, but I'm doing that sideways little scrubby thing. Just trying to get this put over. I think I'm going to use a fan brush to finish it, but maybe not. This is working pretty good, but yeah, I think I'm going to use a fan. finish it off. The fan just has a little bit lighter bristles, so it's a little bit more delicate when you got thicker paint. Okay, wipe this one off. Yeah, I had a little bit too much paint on there with the blue and the white. Just go right across, nice and light. Barely touching it. There we go. There we go. And this is basically manipulating it to your liking. Sometimes I get it right away, sometimes I don't. Look in here. Oh yeah. See how nice that broke up that just stark blue sky? Okay. So, the next thing I'm going to do, I told you I was going to use a smaller brush. Now I'm going to redefine my mountain and then highlight it. Once I highlight it, then I'll have a real good idea where I'm going. And this mountain is going to basically be a really good checkpoint for everything else. I'll just get inside. Okay, now what I want to do, to find my edge. There we go. Perfect. Now we got our edge. Now what I can do, I can just take that same brush, add a little green to it, don't have to worry about a lot. Just get rid of that white now from the clouds that went through. And that, my friends, is how you finish off the sky. The excess stuff that went into the mountains and to where the forest is going to be and stuff, kind of clean all that stuff up, clean up your edges a little bit, and now the sky is set. Looks looking good. Okay. Let's see here. Gonna get my knife. I just use, I've got a bunch of knives. Sometimes when I do a painting where it's just a palette knife, I'll use one of these that are really big. But when I'm doing stuff, a little bit smaller, I'll use a smaller knife like this. And I even got one too that's even smaller. Just because I'm not gifted with a knife, so I'm not as precise as I am with a brush. So I like to just make it a little bit easier on myself. So I don't use a huge, big beast of a knife. Okay. Now I'm just gonna hope my shoulder's not in the way. There we go. Yeah, that shows up nice. Okay, now I think I'm going to use the small knife. I'm going to go with the raw sienna. I'm not going to put any white in it. I'm going to see where to go now. right at the edge, these stretch cams, it's tough with the knife sometimes. Be careful. I'm not going to go right up to the water yet because I haven't put the water in, and I'm probably going to get it messy a little bit. I'll just do it right up to here, which this will probably all be covered anyway by the foliage that's going to be underneath. Let me step back and see how that looks. Oh yeah, I can deal with that. I can deal with that real well. I'm not going to do the highlights there until I'm done with the forest. But I'll keep this knife over here handy. Okay, trying to think of what I should do next. Okay, I'm gonna put in the forest before I do the water. Why? I don't know, just because it's right there. So we're gonna do everything like we normally do. Usually it's Payne's Gray and Viridian. Now it's gonna be Payne's Gray and Permanent Green Light. And like I said, I'm not going to highlight these rocks because I'm putting these trees in. And the trees are just going to mangle up my highlights, so I'll put the highlights in after. Just know what steps you're going to take. Now, as usual, we're not going to highlight everything. There's going to leave some of them that's going to be dark. And then some will be medium, some will be bright, some will be with yellow, some will be with the green light by itself. You're going to do a variety. And we want to leave spaces in between here and there. See the background. And we're going to go shorter and shorter following the curve. And then once we get this in, and then we do the highlights, then we'll reshape our rocks. And then after we reshape our rocks, then we can highlight them. And once we highlight them, because the highlight's going to be on the top, not the bottom, we'll put the water in. Now, right now, I've got this going perfectly for the dome, and that looks stupid. I'm just doing that for this, just for the moment, because I'm going to go up above it, but I just wanted to get everything in. There we go. You don't want to see that straight ridge line there. But that was a good guide. So now you just go over it a little bit. You go into the clouds. And considering how high some of these elevations are in Wyoming, I think you might quite literally be doing that. Okay. Oh yeah, that'll work. Can't see anything because of the dark on dark at the moment, but you will. Shortly, I'm going to start putting in the yellow. My yellow today is lemon yellow. I get going back and forth. I love lemon yellow, but the Cadmium Yellow Light Hue that I use with the Griffin Alkyds is probably my favorite yellow. There's just something about it. It makes great greens. It makes great oranges with the reds. It's just an incredible color. and I love it dearly. So that is my favorite. However, I do enjoy working with the lemon yellow. It is a nice color. That's what I'm going to use today. It's not as in your face as the Cad Yellow Light Hue, but it is a pretty yellow. Okay, so now we're going to highlight. Yep, I put too much on there. I'm taking some from there. As you notice, I'm not putting it on every one of them. When you got the light and the dark together, it really shows depth well. Doggone it, put too much on that one again. That's okay. I'll blend it in with the fan brush shortly. Once I blend in it with the fan brush, then it'll really show up correctly. As much as I love bold, beautiful colors, especially in oil painting, it's not realistic. Colors in nature usually aren't that big and bold. Sit back and see how that is. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so I'm going to take my fan brush that actually has a little bit of blue left in it from the sky. I'm just going to tap in. I want this to be green, not yellow. Now, as you can see, tap it in between. There we go. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is take a little bit of yellow. Just going to make just little bits here and there. And you've seen me do this before, just give like a fullness to the bases. Up. What I'm doing now is just fiddling with it until I get it the way I like it. A bit more yellow here. Remember, this is a real deep, dense forest. So you're going to not have a lot of see-through here. Okay, that I can deal with. I try not to fidget too much because then you can give it the look of overworked, which is obviously not good. But you do want to make sure that you have it to where, you know, it appeals to you. It's the way you want it. Okay, I'm going to take some more raw sienna. I'm going to take our little palette knife. There it is. we'll put in the rocks here. So what I'm going to do is going to reshape here. I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make this smooth. So I'm going to take my 1-inch brush, now that I got all this here. Just going to smooth this out a bit. The reason why I'm doing this is I want it to be a little less jagged than that. And I might adjust that. I might wipe that off and do it again. I'm torn between that right now. So as I'm working on this, I'll figure that out. A lot of times, if you notice when I'm painting, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do until I'm doing it. Most of the time, I'm very happy with that. Because I do, as you know, love the spontaneity of the style that I chose. And it's like I told you before, it's not the style I invented. I didn't steal it because I always give them credit, but I acquired it from mainly Stuart Davies and Dennis Sheehan on YouTube. Now they're into tonalism, which I'm not, but their kind of style and the way they go about it is what I took from them. And I regret none of it because it's a freeing style. You don't have to be a genius to do it. You just have to kind of see shapes. It's really a fun style. I love it dearly. Okay, now I gotta clean up these edges. Problem with the knife, like I told you, and you got the edges here of a stretch canvas, is you get this down here. And basically what that is it cuts right through to the canvas because of the knife, which is rigid, going up against the canvas, which isn't. Try and get some perpendicular lines here. Probably going to put a little bit of green in here too. Same over here. I'm going to probably put some green in like I did up there, just to break it up a little bit. Because one of the things I did notice about Wyoming, Montana too for that matter, there's a lot of trees growing within rocks and ledges on mountains. Wouldn't be a bad idea to depict a little bit of that here. But instead of doing it in 2 or 3 stages like we did this, I'm just going to go with the brighter color that I want to start with, so it's easier to see. And then I'll probably use something like a fan brush or the 1-inch brush to make it a little easier. Okay, so actually we're doing good. Okay. I think I'm going to take this fan brush here. I'm going to start with, I'm going to use a little bit of medium, which I haven't used in a while now. And I'm going to go straight blue, cerulean blue, and titanium white. Got no waterfall today. Bummer. I love waterfalls. Love painting them, love looking at them, love listening to them. but just didn't feel like putting one in for some reason today. First thing I'm going to do, normally I don't do this, but I've got the edges already sculpted. So that's why I'm kind of being a little more careful. And I'm going to put some Payne's gray in this to darken it up, so don't worry, it's not going to be as bright because no water's like this. Maybe in the tropics, but most certainly not in the mountains of the northwest and west of the U.S. Now I can use a big brush. I'm not going to clean it, just going to wipe it off. I got a lot of yellow on it. Okay, throw that napkin out. Now I'll go with the big brush. Turning it color already. What I think I'm going to do, once I turn this a little darker with the Payne's gray and stuff, I may put a waterfall in. Let's see where I'm at here, so I'm going to go with land. Start with here. I know this is a really ugly color, but don't worry, it's just going to be a base color. I'm just got a lot of different colors mixed on my palette, so I'm just taking something a little darker. We're going to make it, you know, pretty green later. But for right now, I just want to get the land down so I know kind of where I'm at and decide if I'm going to put a waterfall in or not. Right now I'm kind of doubting it, but okay, the entire canvas is covered. Hallelujah, brothers and sisters. Okay. Now I want to make this flow right. I'm going water into land, land into water, whatever you want to call it. I don't have a shit ton of paint on here, so it's going to take a lot more to move it in. That's okay. Puts a little bit more here. A little darker. Now I'll put more cerulean. Actually, I'm going to go with the smaller. Doggone it, ran out of paper towels. Usually I put out enough in the beginning to carry me through a full session. For some reason I didn't do that today. to do? I'm going to make this cerulean darker. Yeah, that's much better. One of the things about water that I love, one of the many things, is you can make it whatever the hell you want. As long as it's got some stuff from the surrounding area in it, then you're in good shape. Now I'm going to be a little bit more careful. This is where I got to redefine that little part of the rock. That's why I didn't highlight those. I knew I'd get it a little bit messy. I might have to redefine this side just a little bit. It's not too bad, but everything is going in because I don't want that stuff into the water completely. So I'd rather have this. I'll jettison out a little bit when I have thicker color. You'll see what I mean. Now I gotta go this way. Step back and see how that is. Yep, no waterfall today. But I gotta get this level. Water's gotta be level, completely horizontal. Much better. Okay. So now let's take our little ass knife. Let's get a little bit. We're going right over it. And we're using reasonably thick paint here. We're not going to go too much because, like I said, I'm going to have some foliage on it too. There is a lot of foliage I still want to put in here. Okay. Over here, I'm going to leave that without the knife. Oh, got it. Went too far. There we go. Okay. That will work. Now what I gotta do, probably done with the knife. I gotta define this again. Okay, so what I think I'm gonna do is I'll make some grasses here and then I'll kind of go up. Still debating on putting some of these down there. I may not. Maybe little ones, I don't know yet. As I go through this, I'll see. But I do know for right now, I'm gonna mix up some lemon yellow and Payne's gray. Basically, I just want to get, like I told you before, kind of similar to what I see in pictures. And when I was in Montana, I saw it firsthand. Through the rocks, there's a lot of these trees that just pop up all over the place. Now I gotta gently put that into the water. There we go. Okay. Yeah, that's coming along good. Now if you'll excuse me for about 20 seconds, I know I'm gonna need some more paper towels before this painting is over, so I'm just gonna tear off a bunch right now. Usually, I don't underestimate my paper towel usage, but I'm a little messier today than normal for some reason. Yeah, okay, that's good. Okay, so I'm going to go with lemon yellow, Payne's gray. I'm going to put the grass in first. Got to see where we're at. And the grass is a good way to do it. One of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a little bit of the gray here and there. A little bit of red and a little bit of everything in here. This is just going to be, it looks like I'm just doing whatever, but I'm not. Like I said, it's from what I've observed, looking at a lot of stuff, a lot of pictures from Wyoming. And it just doesn't have the great green pasture everywhere. Definitely has it in some places. I'm going to take this, I'm going to go up. There we go. And now I'll put a little bit of red in here with the yellow, make a nice little red-orange. Dull it down a little bit. Okay. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to use the palette knife to finish it off. I'm not going to put in too much water lines. I'm going to put a couple in towards the back. I'm not going to go crazy with water lines on this one. For this, I will use a bigger knife, just so it's easier. See, I'm just a little bit here and there. This water is not moving fast. It's probably got a nice little steady flow to it, and that's about it. That's kind of what I wanted to give the impression of, just a nice little steady flow. That's why, we got no waterfall here, so let's just take it easy. Okay. Take our foliage brush. We have not done purple flowers in forever. We're going to today. A couple over here. Okay. I think I'm going to do next. Gotta move that just a little bit further back. I'm going to take a big knife and I'm going to use a lot of yellow mixed with a little bit of red for that nice orange. And I'm just going to give little bits. Like I told you before, I don't want this in your face, but I do need it to be pronounced a bit. And the knife is a really good tool. You don't really do subtle well with a knife because the marks are so bold. But you definitely can have some fun with it. Okay. Now, the last thing we're going to do, we're just about done, so bear with me here. Last thing we're going to do is we are going to tap a little bit with the little corner here. I'm going to tap some of the same color on these flowers. I don't want to get rid of the purple. I just want some of this stuff to go with it. The wildflowers are ridiculous out there, and they've got all kinds of colors with each other. And the reason I'm using the knife is I'm just putting it on the top of some areas. It's not blending in whatsoever. And that's one of the beauties of a knife. You can go nice and thick like I'm doing, and you still keep that purple base. And do the same over here. You gotta reload and load a ton of times, but it's worth it for the effect. Get these beautiful little shapes, and you get a lot of texture on it and stuff like that, and it just really shows up good. Okay, I like that. Okay, I think we are going to call this one a done painting, a completed painting, a finished painting. I want to thank everybody, moms and dads, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Yes, put in the comments below where did I get that from. If you're not at least 50 years old, you probably won't know. I want to thank you very much for letting me come into your home and give you another painting video here. Today is Sunday. What the hell is today? Sunday the 11th, I think. So I'll have another one next week, Sunday. I hope everybody has a great week and be safe, and I'll talk to you later.